Um, so I also, during early part of my life, when I wanted to be a pastor, I went through seminary school, confusion school, uh, and not necessarily a college university school, but it was a program I went through that got me my bachelor's in biblical studies and theology. All of these things were nothing but a launching pad to where I am today. I say today I've graduated Christianity because I understand some things. I don't need to go back into the days of old, which I will get into. I won't need to be stuck in the trap of believing a certain way that may have that had me believing that I had to be associated into an organization that I would have to follow exactly what somebody say. Um, to develop me and to mature me in the things of the Most High. So let's get into this video real.
Supposed to be wearing our fringes, and you notice he said throughout your generations. What does that mean?
Forever.
There you go. So that's why I asked you, sir, why you wear your fringes. It's not me trying to be a jerk. It's me showing you that I love you. And in order for God to have your back, you got to do what he tells you. You got to have these laws. And it's nothing to get fringes, bro. You know him. So if you as a matter of fact, he made them. You know.
Now he said that he knows you. When I walked up, he said, "This is your man, not your boy." When I walked up to walk past the group, and then this brother in the green, hey brother, can I ask you a question? But I want y'all to see on their pants. These are what he's referring to. Some guys have fringes that goes around the whole entire shirt at the bottom of the hem of the shirts. They'll have fringes and things like that. But these right here is what you're seeing, what they have, and what he was referring to, that he asked me why, because he asked me, I didn't record it because I didn't think about recording until he got into this explanation of what is. But he asked me, well, brother, if you know who you are in this Bible, right, where's your fringes at? And so that's where the whole conversation started.
You know what I'm saying? So we can get you some fringes, brother. All right? All right, bring it out.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 12. Sew tassels on the four corners of your clothes. Can't get no plainer.
Yeah, it's that simple. That's what we're supposed to do, and it represents us as a people.
Let me go back to that right there again. Go ahead.
Yeah. If you we can get you some fringes, brother. All right? All right, bring it out.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 12. Sew tassels on the four corners of your clothes. Can't get no plainer.
Yeah, it's that simple. That's what we're supposed to do, and it represents us as a people. The Bible said we're a peculiar people. We're a strange, a special type of people, all right? And we have to do things like that for these other nations to see us and be like, yo, these people ain't nothing to play with. These are wise and understanding nations. Conclusion of all of what God wants us to do.
Fear God and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man.
That's our whole purpose to be on this earth. That's why I asked you, did you have your fringes? Because God said we have to keep all these commandments. That's what we're here to do. Look down and you like, dang it. And you notice you ain't got no fringes on. And you praying. Do God hear your prayers? Absolutely not.
Of scripture. Every last one of us point fingers at each other and say that's not what it says and all that right there. But when the brother is sharing this about fringes, and I'm getting into it. Why was there fringes? And these commandments that he said they're supposed to keep, which y'all didn't know when I was really showing the ground of the pictures that they had. You know, there are some things that I was pointing out, which I will point out here shortly. But then he said, God can't hear your prayers because you don't have fringes. Now, like I said before, I gave y'all a background of who I am. So I already know them scriptures back and forth and back. Get to these commandments. What was the purpose of the commandments? We're going to get to it because there's no way in the world they're keeping 613 commandments. It's an impossibility, and you will break one.
All the praises and the honor goes to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha Ha Kodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren. Shalom to you, few sisters, and shalom to the hopefully elect. Peace to you. I want to touch on this video here by this Jake. It's called Hebrew Israelites Hit Me Up. This is my response. Iuic, Sicarii, who's who. Now, Iuic and Sicarii is acknowledge IUIC in unison with them, which means in unison you would be in one doctrine, but I don't know how that works because they teach different doctrines. IUIC and Sicarii, they do have some similarities on doctrine with the fringes and everything, but IUIC teaches all the letters of Paul, but Sicarii doesn't. IUIC teaches the mark of the beast, teaches against the mark of the beast. Sicarii teaches for the mark of the beast, right? I think Sicarii teaches more than one wife. IUIC teaches against more than one wife. They teach one wife, but in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to have multiple wives. So I don't understand that either, because if the law never changed. The Lord said he changed not. So right now, we're not only supposed to have one wife, but in the kingdom, we can have multiple wives. So the Lord just going to flip the script when the kingdom come. But anyway, I want to touch on this about the fringes, because if this brother Jake, who's into the Africa thing, came up to us and he wanted to know more, that would probably be not a question we would ask him about his fringes, right? And in their case, if he knew he was a Hebrew Israelite, and let's say we walked up to him as great millstone prophets, and they'll look at us and say, "Where are your fringes?" And I'll say, "Well, my fringes are at home until Saturday when it's time to come out and teach. We do wear our fringes, but be wise as serpents, harmless as doves." And we don't wear them shirt fringes, so we wear garments down to the foot like Yahushua did. So some of us can't wear them like that. So to get into that, we'll get into that too, about the laws. What is bigger than the law? We'll get into that too, right? Because a lot of people think it's about the carnality of the law, and that's what the Israelites was doing. Let's go to Matthew 12:9. And when he was departed thence, right, he went into their synagogue, and behold, there was a man which had a hand withered. And they asked him, saying, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days?" That they might accuse him, right? And he said unto them, "What man shall thee be among you that shall have one sheep, and if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift him out? How much then is a man better than a sheep? Right? Wherefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath days." Right? Then saith he to the man, "Stretch forth thine hand," and he stretched it out forth and was restored whole. Now we seen this in the situation with the lame man at the pool of Bethesda, I believe. We also seen this in John 9th chapter with the blind man. So we can understand this is why Paul, we're going to get into Romans 3, I believe. This is why Paul was, they was mad at Apostle Paul, because you would have had Jakes in the same situation. Why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing that? Even in the shambles. Why, you shouldn't eat that meat because it's been sacrificed. Remember, that's against the law. And Paul would say, well, go ahead and eat, because Yahushua was that sacrifice. You see what I'm saying? So the things you heard about, if you love me, keep my commandments, do what we're supposed to do according to the commandments. When Yahushua died, that bridged, us up to the new covenant, which we're not in, to have mercy and faith and grace for things that we may not be able to do. Because after all, the Lord didn't need the laws, certain laws. Let me say certain laws. He didn't need us to follow. It was about what? Let's go to Mark 12:29. And Yahushua answered him, "The first of all commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord. And thou shalt love the Lord with all thy heart, with all thy might, with all thy soul, with all thy strength." This is the first commandment. Now, if I can remember correctly, like the pool of Bethesda, when the angel was in the water, the lame man was just laying there, you know what I'm saying? And nobody went to help him. So you can see how more important the love of the Most High, the love of the brotherhood, is beyond so much of wearing fringes. Yes, you wear fringes, that's the love, but there's a whole network that come with the loving of the brotherhood. Now, again, these brothers, he has his hat covered, but they don't believe in everything the letters of Paul say. His head is covered, right? The other one has some kind of haircut going on. They got all these laws and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But what about the faith? Right? Let's go to Romans 3. Let's go to Romans 3. We can go to John 9 too, but I'm not going to read that. Going to the blind man, it's the same situation. Let's go to Romans 3 and 21. But now the righteousness of Yahweh without the law is manifested. Well, what is this saying this for? But now the righteousness of Yahweh without the law is manifested. Because when you're going through faith, it's bigger than the law. Because the faith is what's going to save you, right? With the deeds of the law to a degree. You just can't go put on garments. The bottom line, you just can't go put on garments and think you a man of the Lord. It doesn't work that way. You had a lot of Israelites, wicked Israelites, wearing garments and fringes. Right? And it ain't save them. When Israel had their history, guess what? They wore their borders of blue, the garments and fringes in the book of Numbers. Your fringes and the borders are blue. Okay, and then it says, being witnessed by the law and the prophets, even the righteousness of the power, which is by faith in Yahushua, says Jesus Christ, unto all upon all unto all and upon all them that believe, for there is no difference. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of the Most High, being justified freely by grace through the redemption that is in Yahushua, right? Whom the power have set forth to be a propitiation through faith in the blood, to declare the righteousness for the remissions of sins that are passed through the forbearance of the Most High. So we can clearly see here, and what they would say is, well, that's why he died. So that doesn't mean we're supposed to do away with the law. And we're not saying to do away with the law. This is why we do it. It's about keeping it to the best of your ability, right? If you want to wear your fringes every day, wear it. We're just saying it's not the wisest thing to do. Because when it all said and done, if you have children, your children are going to be judged more on their faith in you and by action, not because they built. You can see many parables in the Bible on that. You could build a big house for your parents, right? But then the other brother or whoever, they don't build such a big house, but they clean it and they make sure you're prepared and you're kept well in that house. This other person did all this labor, but this other person took care of you and made sure you were good. So it all boils down to the faith and belief, right? At the end of the day. Okay, so now if you got shirt fringes, wear your shirt fringes. We're just saying you can't condemn us because we don't wear fringes every day. And it's not some big marketing scheme where you can go on eBay and buy all the fringes you need. Fringes are not going to save you, in other words. Does MOTB come out and all this is going to happen? I doubt if it's going to be your fringes that's going to save you. There's one thing that's going to save you, and we're going to read on that. It says here, where is boasting then? 27. Where is boasting then? Is it excluded? By what law? Of works? Nay, but by the law of faith. Right? That's the key. Because if you have faith, you will try to keep the law, right? But it won't be all about the law. And if you have faith, if you have the law, you're going to try to make sure you have faith. You just can't throw on garments and say, hey, I have faith. This is why James, I believe James, the 2nd chapter says, faith without works is dead. Therefore, we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Why is he saying this? Because you're justified by the belief, especially now. You know how spiritual it is to believe that Yahushua did all these things and the Most High sent his son to walk on this earth and do all these things, and we're waking up under reincarnation. The elect is going to wake up and say, hey, I believe this. Right? It says, seeing it is one power which shall justify the circumcision by faith, and uncircumcision through faith. Do we then make void the law through faith? Yahweh forbid. Yea, we establish the law. What is this saying? There's a balance. Because if it wasn't about faith, right, then what would be the reason of Yahushua coming? Right? So if it was all just about the law, then he would say, hey, just follow the law. But there was a lot of Israelites who followed the law, right? But they didn't follow through faith. Read Matthew 23. That's why he called them hypocrites. Right? You're like sepulchres. You're beautiful on the outside, but inside you're dead men's bones. These are talking about Jake's wearing fringes. Right? This is talking about Jake wearing his beautiful fringes, his beautiful garments. You know, Jake, a lot of Israelites, our people, they love something, right, that reflects spirituality on us, right? So they see the purple, they see the gold, they see the fringes. They see something different outside of what we experience in the Christian church. But it's bigger than the flesh. It's bigger than the carnality of it, right? You have to go through what the spirit is, man. You know? Because after all, what did they do to Yahushua? Rent his clothes and all of that? That's how we know it's bigger than the garments. Yeah, he had the garment on, but he still went up on that crux, as I call it, and died for the children of Israel. You can't seriously think putting on a shirt fringe is going to save you. There's a lot of Jakes that the Most High is not going to listen to their prayers, and they're wearing their garments. You got to remember, some work awake to everlasting life, and some to everlasting shame. This, when you go to the beginning and you deal with the laws, statutes, commandments, yes, they were given to the Israelites, and they still exist to this day, right? But there's some things in the laws that you won't be able to keep fully, okay? For instance, you're not supposed to strike a fire on the Sabbath day. The only way that's possible, you got to cut off the hot water heater because it's stricken a fire. You can't go to work. You can't drive. So now you don't have no hot water, right? Don't even light a microwave. Don't start that up, right? It's all some form of work and fire. You don't go to the store. You don't do anything. Now, say your brother's really sick and you have to go somewhere to get him something to help him. What do? Are you going to say, well, it's a Sabbath day, so I can't do it? This proves that what Yahushua was showing them is that you can't fully keep the law 100% without the workings of faith. The faith comes first before the deeds of the law, although the law still exists. Let's go to Galatians 3:11, 3 and 10. For as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse, for it is written, curses everyone that continues not in the things which are written in the book of the law to do them. Right? So he's telling you, yeah, the law exists, but that no man is justified by the law in the sight of the Most High, right? It is evident, for the just shall live by faith. The just is the elect. We understand the law exists. We understand and believe in it, right? But it's going to be by faith. And the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. So we understand that when you're dealing with the law, faith comes first. You're not going to be saved by wearing fringes, period. In a time of Jacob's trouble, when the MOTB happens, you're going to have Israelite groups wearing fringes and still accepting the mark. Right? So it's about faith. I wouldn't have personally questioned this Jake about fringes anyway. And even if I taught that we all supposed to wear them, it's a thing called milk. He's got to get the milk first and get the understanding of this truth and his heritage. You know, I see Iuic do that. The guy comes up and they'll ask him to take off his hat, or they'll tell him to grow his beard. And he's not even in the congregation. He's not even crossed over. Those fringes that you speak of and you out teaching is talking about the congregation that's of Israel. They ain't talking about everybody else, the heathens or non-believers, man. You're supposed to have patience and in hope you can convert them and use guile. But again, these Sicarii brothers, they don't fully believe everything Apostle Paul says. This is clear why the way you can just take things out and put things in so you can live unto your own will. That's all I have on that. Shalom.